Dear colleagues and friends, good morning, and on behalf of the Institute for Education, welcome to the first symposium on the internationalization and multiculturalism in Maltese education and society. I am very pleased to welcome today's keynote, Prof Khalid Arar from Texas State University. We truly look forward to your keynote address. The symposium provides a platform for researchers and experts to learn from one another and to explore new opportunities of collaboration and expose the recommendations that are elicited from every research study with the wider community. The plan was to hold a one-day symposium in June. It had to be held on the 26th of June, and most of you had registered. But due to the pandemic, we had to postpone it. We preferred to postpone it to September. And then we decided that we should hold it on 2 mornings, today and tomorrow. This year, we will discuss the internationalization and multiculturalism in Maltese education and society. During the past few years, Maltese schools faced an increase in international learners. And this brought with it a number of challenges, but also several opportunities to expand our horizons because there was a diversification of nationalities. However, we started to question the role of schools in all this. How are they contributing to an inclusive society? And what environment had to be presented in schools to ensure that the learners developed the competencies and skills to be able to function effectively and efficiently in such a society? What is the public perception of these learners, and how is it influencing life at school? These questions and many others needed an answer, and several researchers were already delving into these issues. So the Institute for Education wanted to provide a valuable platform through this symposium for these researchers to expose their findings and consequently help and support schools in the reality they are facing today and on a daily basis. Apart from the symposium, the Institute has published its first Malta Journal of Education with the same theme of the symposium. Here it is. I'm very proud of it. It's quite thick and it has 13 papers. And these 13 papers included in the journal are there to provide some answers, obviously not all, some answers to our questions. And maybe the recommendations provided can be adapted to suit the unique needs and the realities we have presented in front of us every day when we are at school. Obviously, I would like to thank our organizer, Ms. Christine Fenech, who managed to bring all the researchers together and organize the symposium and postpone it and reorganize it again, and for arranging an excellent lineup of speakers. And I thank the speakers and moderators, obviously, for their contribution. You have the parallel sessions after the keynote as well. I would also like to sincerely thank the team that coordinated the IT aspect for this symposium and all the course coordinators for doing this. Let me also thank all of you, the participants. As always, we appreciate your support and look forward to your contribution to this discussion. I wish you all a very enjoyable and most productive symposium. Thank you.
Christine, for the introduction. I'd like to thank you humbly for all what we gone throughout this year while organizing for this event. Thank you also for the Education Institute, the Maltese Education Institute, for organizing this event and for the decision to face this challenge instead of going for tries, false and true tries. So, and especially in this pandemic, political racism, xenophobia, and challenging days of engendering both humanity, diversity, and equity. Also, I'd like to thank our audience from Malta and other international audience which I do want to thank them for attending this session. So before I start, I choose to have the following title for my presentation: Migration and Education Facing New Challenges. Because when we speak about people on move, so there is a meeting between two cultures, two education systems, and this brings me to the topic and the roadmap for these keynotes. And I've put the following questions while putting the stark comment of Martin Luther King, who said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." Thus, we cannot choose to close our eyes or to hide when facing these challenges of diversified societies due to migration. So the main questions that I try to answer in this in today's keynote: one is, what are the main global trends of migration phenomena? And here I will try to differentiate between different terms of migration that constantly we use them and combine between them, and by then we cannot define the challenges that we meet. And what are the features of reception policy of immigrants, displaced, refugees in different countries? What are the main challenges facing K-12 education systems in dealing with migrants population in terms of policy, leadership, and praxis? Why K-12? Because half of migrants are children, and only 3% of migrants access to higher education. So the main challenge is for the K-12 education system. And lastly, are educational leaders, educational systems, teachers up to the task of welcoming migrants or not? So first, we need to define our terms. When we speak about people on the move as a phenomena, we speak about two different types or main types of people on move. It is displaced people or persons who left their countries due to crisis, seeking for safe haven, and they are seeking asylum in another country. While on the other hand, we have refugees that got their refugee status in a new country, while some people in a new country are still displaced because they do not have status. So we have two types or main types of migrants. We have forced migrants, and we have those who choose to move to another country while making, a rational decision while moving with different skills and different resources. So the global mobility issue also have on it also the whole issue of internationalization, as we are facing in the last few years the highly globalized populations and societies, and among this there is a small group of skilled migrants. So these people on the move, in order to understand their challenges, we need to look to this phenomena throughout different lens. So while migration is an ancient phenomena, I mean, it has been there all the time, but much more less than what we are facing today in the 21st century, due to consequences of ranging from civil and international war to political and economical crisis. In the last 30 decades, 3 decades, we are facing enormous population move. And when we speak in geographical or geopolitical terms, we have the Middle East as one of the main turbulence area, where is people move from the Middle East throughout the Mediterranean and throughout Europe, normally geography. So that we witness different wars in the Middle East, mainly the Arab Spring, and before this, the Iraqi war, and all the other wars, Yemen, Sudan, and of course Syria, Syria's war, civil war. So all these civil wars pushed people out from their countries. We have also other wars around. So while we spoke in the 90s about 170 million migrants in the world, nowadays we are speaking about 270 million migrants in 2019. So the meaning, there is an increase in this phenomena. It has been increased of around 30%. And of course, there is also the intervenes migration with technology and innovation and globalization. All this is large body of population moves that makes a challenge to different nations in terms of their reception policy, in terms of their meeting these challenges, in terms of changing in the society, diversification, economic challenges, infrastructures, etc. So within this group, there is a distinct group of displaced and refugees, which is, we will speak much more about this group. So in order to understand this phenomena, we need to adopt different lens. When we speak about forced to leave migrants due to war or crisis, we speak about people who underwent trauma, are lifting their memories, lifting their narratives, and moving constrainedly to other country. Normally, their lack of resources. So the humanitarian lens are vivid here, while their path and is illegal in terms of legal and illegal definitions. And of course, we have people who leave voluntary, seeking for a betterment life, a status fix for a better economy, socially, and of course seeking education, because education was always one of the main trends or facilitators of people move, especially from east to west, from south to north, and we end up with push and pull factors of these people move. And with this stark pictures, in the left hand side, you can see waves of refugees traveling. They are risking their life, traveling, illegally to other countries while escaping wars. And in the pictures, down to this picture, we see also the reception of different, nations, different countries. So out of 96 countries in the world that signed the UN resolution, only few are welcoming these people. So there is a debate, there is a public discourse around this. And also, when we look to this move, constrained move, people left their memories, they left their resources, and they come, disband to another country. So after these stark pictures, so people arrive to other countries, shows in different ways, and they face different reception policy. In some countries, this policy is open door policy, or selective policy, or closed door policy. So we have three different policies in the world, while very limited or short list of countries welcomed immigrants. And nowadays, if we look to the United States, last resolutions, administration resolution, they tried even to expel international students, and international workers are not eligible to in the United States due to the last 4 months, resolutions. So migration nowadays, and especially in this pandemic area, is in a big concentration. So before I move forward, I want to give you an outlook of the migration trends. We are speaking about 272 millions of migrants. Among these migrants, we have the flow from migrants normally from south to north, from east to west. And among these, we have about quarter of this amount are displaced. They equal nowadays, I wrote 68 million, there are 72 nowadays. And also there is an issue of documentation of this phenomena, so the numbers are normally bigger than the official numbers. And within this group, we have a group of refugees, which is about 28 million. We have labor migrants, and of course we have international students, and we have missing migrants of about 6 million people are missing. I mean, they are not documented anywhere. So they are, these are people in move, while both women and children are the biggest portion of these numbers. And in dealing with this outlook, I have been researching in the last decade the internationalization of students' movement. I mean, internationalization, higher education, so immigration and higher education. While since the 2014, I started to research refugees education, and of course, only few countries welcome these refugees. In terms of and migrants, in terms of policy of reception, we have three facets of policies. We have the state policy, like for example, if we look to Angela Merkel open door policy toward welcoming policy toward refugees. So this is a policy that has been taken in a federal level. We have public discourse, which is sometimes opposite to the official policy, sometimes within the official policy, and we have proactive or reactive institutional policy, which means sometimes while the federal government go for welcoming, the public discourse might be against it, and institutions are, behaving either reactively or proactively by implementing new policies of integration. So here I choose to present two main stark paragraphs. One is Jalaluddin Rumi written in his script in his tomb in Turkey, "Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshipper, lover of living, it doesn't matter. Ours is not a cavern or despair. Come, even if you are broken your vows 1,000 times. Come yet again, come, come, and come." So this is a discourse. It is either a welcoming discourse or a closed door reception and discourse. And the other stark paragraph that I choose, that the people who are war-torn people and arrive to other countries, sure, these people are facing exile. They are compiling with a terrible experience that they are bringing with them to the new destiny, to the new destination. So they are forced between human being and a native place, between their heritage, their history, their narrative, their resources, and the new place that they arrive to. So let's see. In the following two main signs, you can see the welcome men and women, all races, all abilities, all belief system, all nations. You are safe here. So this is a one stark sign. The other sign is fair isn't everyone getting the same thing. Fair is everyone getting what they need in order to be successful. So let's see with which of these two signs we are. If you have, a few seconds to talk to somebody, so with which sign or term reflects your core values? Equality, equity, and explain why. Are you with welcoming migrants, their integration in society as a cohesive society, or against it? And of course, out of these migrants, I come back and stress the war-torn migrants, and I know that Malta has been facing this phenomena in percentage, big time. So we have, if we look to the following, maps of the countries that people has been moving from. So we have Syria, we have South Sudan, and we have people from the Middle East. When they move, normally they use the Mediterranean Sea. So Malta is one of their shores, besides, Greek. And also the percentages in Malta exceeds other, countries. So who receives these people? Who are the countries that receives these people? Is it the G5 countries, the wealth countries, the stronger economic countries? They only participate in 6% of this burden. I mean, rich countries participate only in 6% of this burden, while the most of this burden goes to, as you can see in the chart, Turkey, Pakistan, Lebanon, Iran, Uganda, Ethiopia, Jordan, Germany, etc. And we have the new context that immigrants arrive to. They arrive to a new country, new policy, a new social structure, new institutions, and they need to adapt to this institution. Either they are expelled from these institutions and they become a kind of burden, or they are welcomed, and their first welcoming is on the education system. So the burden of welcoming new immigrants to any country is putting on the shoulders of school principals, teachers, educators, social workers, and all supporters of education and social and welfare systems. And of course, how do we apply and meet these needs? How do different countries respond to refugees and displaced and immigrants in education provision? How do nation and global educational policies differ? How they affect praxis in schools? What are the role of school leaders in this respect? What challenges do schools professionals and students face in relation to refugee students? And how are these issues of integration, inclusive education, multicultural education, international education are handled in different education systems? So these questions made me make the following move in order to research reception policy in terms of education, both in the level of policy, leadership, and praxis in the following countries. As you can see, I started in Jordan, then Turkey, Lebanon, then Germany, then Canada. These were the main countries I tried to research the refugees education policy. And of course, we come to the following question. In which university courses do you learn this knowledge and the required skills to welcome refugees, immigrants, and displaced? How you handle this complex, real complex world, issue, conceptually, politically, economically, humanitarian, educationally, historically, etc. So this is a complex system that, or a complex issue that needs to be researched in complexified terms and problematized terms. So we are speaking about diversity, and in order to handle diversity, in order to speak about inclusion, in order to speak about migration, we need to recognize differences. We need to recognize diversity in order to speak about integration and representation. So our lens should be cultural recognition lens. Then we move to equity, while all is handled in complex eyes. And we have the following facets when we speak about integration of migrants. We have the state reception approach, then the educational policy, then the leadership, and inside the educational leadership we have the school praxis. So here are the main stepping stones that consists of dealing with immigrants and displaced and refugees. One is policy response, the other is leadership, agency, then school praxis, then stakeholders, commitment in the community, social welfare, and of course we have a different theory here. We're speaking about education and we are speaking about migration. And the regime of truth is cultural meeting between two different societies. My research project, as I've said, has been consisted of both policy, leadership, and praxis of integration. I tried to learn different models of developing integration in different countries, especially in Turkey, Germany, and Canada. And of course, what are the professional development schemes for dealing with refugees and immigrants, and why I, Khalid Arar, researched this problem? Because I myself, as a Palestinian, I am a son, a fourth generation son of a family that has been uprooted and their village has been demolished. So this is why I turn, this subject as a scholarship. So always people in the move was a subject that interested me. And the scholarship, my scholarship within this, I can recall, for example, that Brian wrote a chapter. I think Christopher Bazina also wrote a chapter. Different friends from Malta wrote different chapters in this book. So here we seek education, immigration, and migration, both in policy and leadership. And of course, we try to understand how different countries are facing these challenges. Also, we have another contribution of how higher education, our education institution deals with this issue. I'm not presenting this for promotional, no. I'm speaking about, a body of research, a body of scholarships that thus people who want to return to this body of scholarship, they can find answers to their questions. Here in this special issue, we spoke about leadership for refugees education. So we have different cases from the US, from Turkey, from Sweden, from Germany, from Canada, and from Lebanon. So we can understand, how different nations deal with this issue. And we are expecting a new special issue to come in the very, very near future, speaking about schools in challenging circumstances. And we speak about the challenges of migrants, immigrants, and refugees. This expected to be out to, around December in leadership and policy in schools. And of course, we have another special issue speaking about atypical students in higher education, especially people are coming from war-torn countries. And among the main findings that we come across is that there is a policy contrast. While in Turkey, for example, they implemented an open door policy, non-documented policy in terms of documenting skills in order to make the step of integrating people. They moved from a humanitarian policy, yet not so structured. And of course, it's changed in the last year. And in Germany, the policy was more structured toward integration, stable integration in Germany. Turkey thought that this migration displaced issue of Syrian coming to Turkey will return back to their countries, while Germany treated them as migrants with special needs. So the policies are providing of language skills, target to the age group, and of course training pedagogic teams. This was much more developed in Germany. Decentralized praxis were witnessed there. In Canada also, there were, especially in Ontario, there were very developed, schemes of dealing with diversity and especially war-torn people. While there is a difference, between the three countries, while Turkey received about 4 million, Germany received 1.2 million, and Canada about 500,400,000 refugees. So in terms of leadership, what was the very obvious leadership model that we witnessed? It is both advocacy and humanitarian leadership that made the issue of integration happen in the school. So we met, dedicated leaders, humanitarianly and also educationally, that looked after these children and tried to also make social cohesion. I mean, as Michael Fullan put it, give me a school and I can move the whole village. So we met different, educational leaders that have been mobilizing the whole community. I mean, these were the leaders that could, combine both educational inclusiveness and social inclusiveness. And of course, we came to the following question: what are the main challenges facing K-12 education systems in dealing with migrants? And are educational leaders, teachers, up to the task of welcoming migrants? And here I will speak about the main challenges. The first challenge is the learning needs. When we speak about learning needs, it's language learning, it is catching up on schooling, because also we have ages difference. Some people's education has been interrupted for a few years. We speak about adjustment to the new education system. So there is an issue of adjustment. The social needs are both communication and issues of sense of belonging and bonding, strange personality identity. So they feel, in some of the schools, they feel strangers there because of communication issues. And of course, we have identity issues of dehumanization when, coming as and feeling as foreigner in any education system. And we have also emotional needs, the safety. I could see children in Germany, whenever they hear a voice of any airplane, they were very, very scared, tired. Whenever there is any alarm, I mean, the principal need to change even the school alarm between classes, because some of the children were frightened when hearing some voices. So we have safety issues, coping with separation, lose. Some of them come with, their moms, no fathers. Some of them has been facing losses of different people in their families. So we have individual factors, we have interpersonal factors, and we have school levels factors. All these three factors that you can see in this chart are challenging, both in terms of educational policy and in terms of praxis, and of course how we can handle these issues. It is both combining educational leadership with a humanitarian lens, with inclusiveness advocacy. It is leveraging and seeking cultural and community cohesion by opening public discourse, by engaging the community in the school. And of course, there is a cultural meeting between two different cultures that either this meeting will be conflictual, accompanied with violence, or this meeting will be inclusive with different lens. So, as you can see, the model that I arrived with, that we have first the social justice ideology and the activist professionals. I mean, as school principals need to discuss this with their teachers. What we are facing, what are the main challenges that these students brings to the fore, what are our responses, what we can give them, what are our needs as educators, and how we can handle, their integration, of course, in a small scale social change, and in a bigger, large scale social change. And lots of answers to your questions you can see in the following book that has been published 2 months ago. It speaks about school leadership for refugees, education within and from social justice lens. So I spoke about moving between borders, and of course listening to the challenges that facing refugees, students and their educators, and educating refugees lessons from different research and models, and of course cultural relevant skill leadership for facing refugees issue, and of course providing equality of education for newcomers with practical mechanism. In chapter 6 you can see different models that I presented, and in the end, leading the community towards social cohesion, because it will not work if you miss the community. Because we speak about public discourse, we need the community along with us, and the model is cultural relevant leadership. Inside the book you will see the German model of integrating newcomers in the German society, very detailed model. You can see inside the book in different facets, educational, social workers, community, and of course people that are volunteering for the integration. So the whole community is working around this, and the task of integration is handled in UNA region. For example, it's about 18 million. So I see we are short in time. I need to finish. So the welcoming and inclusive schools of multi-layer complex tasks, combining both community, school leadership, teachers. You can learn in chapters 5 to 7 and how they are empowering immigrants as a new citizens, both international and national citizens, and who are the engaging schools in terms of promotion integration, providing and incorporating and validating, programs. And I want to end up with the following open-ended policy and leadership dilemmas that should be further researched. One, placement. Sometimes, for example, in Turkey, they documented refugees and they move inside the country. They move, independently. In Germany, they couldn't move from one community to other community, from one region to another region. So placement issue, where we send them stronger or weaker social facets, is very important. The issue of appointing principals. Some principals are not enough open to deal with this highly complex issue. Coordination. When I speak about coordination, there are different groups, there are different people who are handling this issue, and we need to coordinate on between them. The issue of sustainability, social discourses around issue of integration is very, very, very important in order to make integration better happen. Of course, it's never enough to present, this issue, both humanitarian and scholarly, in an hour. So thank you very, very much.